Hello viewers, Super GT here again, and I'm back with another guide for Forza 4. I know it's been quite a while since I made a guide, but this is a requested video. Quite a few people have been asking me for tips on braking, so I thought I'd do this one. And this is focusing on brake markers, so using the markers on the side of the track to improve your braking performance. So a lot of the tracks have these little numbers on the side of the track. These are distances until the apex of the corner. As you can see here, this is Road America coming up to the third corner. There's these little markers on the wall, and for this first corner I like to brake halfway between the first and the second one. So there, you see, just halfway between the first and second one, that is my braking point. You see I took the corner nicely there because the braking point was right. Now for the second example, coming up to one of the last corners, you can see here circled is the 4, so I think that's 400 foot until the corner. I like to brake between just before the 4, so halfway between the 4 and the 5. There, just halfway between, that's my point. So you can see I'll just use a reference. I know when it's coming up, I can spot the 4, brake just before it. So coming around this corner, there's another set of markers, and here we have another example. There's a 300 foot marker there. I like to brake halfway between that one and the next one, which is just on the edge of that tarmac there. So if we rewind it slightly, go over to the left hand side, spot your marker at the end, then brake. And then if you do that every lap, you're just going to take it right every time, so it just makes your life a lot easier. So coming up to the first corner again, the marker here is this 400 foot marker for this car anyway. So rewind it again, spot the 4 and then brake as close as you can to it, and you can see I take this corner very nicely because I've got the braking right. And then coming up to the second corner, I like to brake at the 200 foot marker, and you see it ends up taking it very nicely because I'm taking it consistently and smoothly. So again, coming up to this corner between the first and second one, you can see how nicely I take that corner because I just know exactly where to brake. It makes my life so much easier. Same again here, first halfway between the first and second one, and we take it very nicely. So I'll let this one run around the corner again. So you want to get yourself to the left hand side and then brake on the end of the tarmac. There it is. And then take the apex, late apex, so you get good exit speed. Okay, so moving on to the next example. There aren't always brake markers, so you can use other things such as curbs, and Hockenheim has quite a few good examples. So as we come here up to the second corner, there aren't any number braking points. Well, actually there are, but I prefer to use the curbs because they're in better positions. I brake at the start of that green curb there. As you can see, there are brake markers there, but that curb is actually exactly where I need, so I prefer to use the curb. And same here actually. My braking point is at the very edge of this curb. There are brake markers there as well, but they're not in the right position. My braking point is the end of the curb, so that's my reference point. And you can see there, I can take that corner very nicely. Just by knowing exactly where to brake, I can do that every time. So yeah, like I said, there's not always brake markers, or there's not always curbs, so you have to get creative if you have to. And now this example is the first corner at Nürburgring, the Grand Prix circuit. There's a banner over the top and there's a shadow on the floor which I brake on. Right here, that's my braking point. So that one works exactly right. I know that if I just brake on that shadow, I'll be able to make the corner. So moving on to Mugello, up to the first corner. It's a more complicated version, complicated example. You can see these tyre marks that go across the track. That is my braking point. It's hard to spot, but once you know it's there, you'll be nailing this one consistently. So you can see that I brake right on it. A bit slower here. So there's the big tyre marks first, and then this one here, brake on that. It's hard to spot, but once you know where you're braking, you'll get it every time. And that's the thing about these braking points. As long as you know where it is, then that's fine, because it doesn't matter if other people don't know where they're braking. If you know what you're braking at, if you know what your point is, then that's it. Now Camino Vejo, come up to the hairpin, you go over the bump, slight pause and then brake. So that's what I mean by reference by time. You have a little bit of a pause and then you brake. So this one, you go over the crest and brake, and then this next example, go over the other crest. There's the end of these stands is where you brake. There, you see that stand on the right hand side where the wall comes closer to the track. That's my braking point. So again, coming down to the hairpin, over the crest, pause, brake. So crest, pause, brake. Crest, pause, brake. You just have to get that rhythm into your head, and then you can be more consistent. Because sometimes there aren't markers or shadows. You just have to you have to reference it by time, and that's a good example of that. So again, come up to this one at the end of the stand. There, that's my braking point. So just get creative, find something on the side of the track, and then brake there every time, and you'll be more consistent. So this is a good example when things get a bit more complicated. There aren't always it's not always easy to see your braking point, so I use references so I know when the braking point is coming up. So this is the first corner at Indianapolis, and this is a good example. So my braking point is after this white line that comes in for the right hand side, but before this line here. Is halfway between that other line and that one is my braking point. It might not be easy for you to see, but the way I know that point is coming up, because it's hard to see, the way I know it's coming up is this ambulance on the right hand side. So I spot that ambulance first, and then I know that the other points are coming up. So look out for the ambulance. I know it's coming up there and then there. So you spot the ambulance, then you know that the braking point is just after that. So it's a good way of preparing yourself for the corner. Incidentally, I managed, while I was doing 3 or 4 laps there, I managed to set 676th best time for that track in not even the best car. So that shows you how consistency helps you. So some considerations to make. Different cars will have different braking performance, obviously, so you have to gauge your braking point differently by car to car. So don't assume that when you jump into another car it's going to be the same as another car. So this NSX will have a different braking point to, say, Ford Mustang or whatever. So you have to change your braking points from car to car, from class to class, etc. The next consideration is that you might not be approaching the same corner at the same speed as normal, because you might not have taken the previous corner as well. So if you're approaching a bit slow, you can brake a bit later. So just because you have a braking point doesn't mean you have to brake there every time, because you might not be going as quickly. So you have to brake later in that case. And finally, the brake markers get knocked out of the way sometimes, and that's a good example. A good example is Laguna Seca, the first corner. The markers are just by the side of the track when people knock them off, so you have to, if that happens, you have to make your best guess as to where to brake. So the benefits are greater consistency from lap to lap. If you can just nail the braking points every lap, you're going to get more consistent lap times, and that's good for race pace, especially longer races. It sets up the rest of the corner, so if you brake right, you're going to turn in right, you're going to get the apex, and you're going to accelerate at the right time. So get the first thing right, it lends itself to getting the next bit right. And well, most importantly, it's the fastest way. There's no point in braking right one time and then not doing it right the next lap. So you need to be consistent, and it'll give you more speed, basically. So I hope this has helped. I know it's taken quite a long time for me to make this video. I do apologise for that. I've been busy, and these videos do take a long time to make. So yeah, again, I do apologise. But if it helps you, then by all means subscribe, because I'll be making a lot more of these, especially when Forza 5 comes out. And some good news, I now have 2,000 subscribers, so that is brilliant news. Thank you very much for all of you for subscribing, and stay subscribed because more is on the way. Thank you very much again. See you next time.